Hey there, everyone. Welcome to part 13 of Let's Make an Adventure with your side quest contact. Now, we're going to be probably wrapping up this initial scenario that we've been working on with Fregruza, our bugbear ranger. She's one of the contact characters our players are going to run into, and we developed some scenarios around that. And the last little bit we want to work on here is the one of the encounters that will be involving this NPC Deep Gnome Investigator at level 1 Druid. Now, we talked last time about how this person is going to be protective of a loved one, likely taken by the Were-Tiger antagonist for possible conversion. Now, so we got this gnome who's going to the surface looking for this lost loved one, investigating, and we're gonna be attracted to the players, and just kind of spread the word. Hey, if you see this person, I'd really like to know something. Help, and there's a reward if you find him or her. We'll determine that later. And to kind of flesh this out, we're gonna actually make this character, this deep gnome level 1 druid. So let's go here, and we're going to. Okay, now another quick word on gender assignment, romantic preferences, and such. Um, your game is your game, and you should set that game up to how you and your players are going to enjoy it the most. There's no rule on this. There's no rule on how to assign these sort of things. It's really up to you. The only rule, in my opinion, the only rule with running games is you can ask yourself this one question: are your players having fun, and are they coming back for the next section? If the answer is yes, you're doing it right. So, however you're doing it is right. So, we're going to talk about how I do it, just because it's easier for me to talk about how I do it instead of speculating on the infinite myriad of ways of doing this correctly. Now, we talked earlier, and so the last character we developed was a female, and I'm going to make a random roll to determine this one as well. It'll be odd male, even female. All right, so we got a male gnome. So we need kind of a male-ish gnome name. Now, thinking about from other gnomes I've read about, dealt with, uh, hmm, male gnome name. Well, we'll come with that later. So I'm just going to put in the character's name, male gnome. All right. Now we have. We're going to look for a gnome. Here we go, deep gnome. The Snurf Nebelin. Choose that race. All right, I'm going to go do I'm going to choose investigator first. All right, as an investigator, you get some proficiencies. That's cool. So how about investigation? That would be helpful for an investigator. And let's do perception or insight. I'm gonna go with perception. Might be able to choose insight later. Okay, what is this? We got a background feature, official inquiry. Your experience at gaining access to people and places to get the information you need through a combination of fast talking, determination, official looking documentation. You can gain access to a place or individual related to a crime you're investigating. Okay. Those who aren't involved in your investigation avoid impeding you and pass along your requests. Additionally, local law enforcement has firm opinions about you, viewing as either a nuisance or one of their own. Okay. All right, so now let's go to class. Excuse me, we're going to do Druid. And what proficiencies are we going to choose here? We already got perception. Let's go ahead and take insight. How's about nature? Yeah, it's a druid. It needs nature. All right. So let's just double check something for spell casting. wisdom, just making sure. Okay. So now we're going to our abilities. Just going to keep it simple, standard array. And I'm going to put wisdom at the top. And for the next best one, how about we do con? And if someone's investigating, they may need to have a decent charisma. And we'll go dex, intelligence, strength. All right, so which ones am I going to bump up? My wisdom's a 15. How about I put 1 in wisdom and 2 in constitution. All right, so we got a 16 wisdom, 16 con. All right, good. All right, description, equipment. Let's do our standard equipment for this person. Yeah, got a wooden shield and a scimitar. Let's see, what do we got here? Some kind of totem. All right, let's add that up. Add that equipment. All right, good. So let's go into the character. Let's just add that stuff. We got leather, small shield, and a scimitar. Let's go to spells. You got any spells yet? Manage spells, known spells, cantrips, and some prepared spells. Now, when I'm picking spells for an NPC, I first ask, is this a friend or a foe of the players? And that's how I'm thinking of my spells. If it's a friend, then we want these spells to be aidful and beneficial to the players. And that way, if they get caught up in a fight with the players, you don't have to really get them in the fight. They can just kind of be in the background, maybe doing support for the players. So let's go into cantrips. We get 2 cantrips for this character. So how about we do guidance? That's always nice. And maybe control some flames. That sounds good. Now we can have how many first level spells prepared? We can have 4 prepared spells. Okay. Yeah, let's do Cure Wounds. That's always helpful to have around if a player needs that. About Purify Food and Drink. Healing Word. And how about Fog Cloud? Maybe give the player some cover if needed. Alright, so we have our gnomish character here. Now this is the one who's investigating, looking for a missing person. And haven't really come up with a name yet, which we can. I wonder if there's any suggestions. Let's go see if there's any suggestions. Let's go here. Deep Gnome. Okay, nothing here. Creature type, speed, dark vision. Okay, yeah, no suggestions. But I know where some suggestions might be. Here in the player's handbook, you can go into Gnome. Name. Here we go, names. And we got a male here, right? Okay, so let's look at about Zook. I like Zook. So Zook tempers. Zook tempers. Alright, so let's manage that and change the name. Oh, what happened? Oh, wrong button. Okay, here we are. Zook Timbers. All right, so who is Zook looking for? Who is Zook Timbers looking for? Protective of a loved one. So this could be a spouse, this could be a child, this could be a sibling, this could be a other, cousin or such. Let's let the dice decide. We'll go with one of those four options. Spouse, child, sibling, cousin. We'll go down that line. Spouse, child, sibling. Okay. And let's decide, is this a brother or a sister? It's a sister. Okay, Zook Timbers looking for missing sister. And let's come up with a quick name for her. We can assume the last name will be the same for now. So female names, how about Nix? I like Nix. Nix Timbers. Okay, so with Nix, I'm thinking Nix is some kind of merchant, right? A merchant who regularly comes up from the Smurf Nebulin realms underground up to the surface to make trades. Probably got some nice gem work going. Can probably gather up some jewels and gems and take them up to the surface, make trades up at the surface, and our lieutenant, the antagonist's lieutenant, this wizard, you know, maybe something he saw something in her and decided that would be a good candidate for my master. So now what he saw in her, because again, were tigers aren't just going to spread the curse to everyone. They're very selective. Tigers are very lone creatures. They're territorial. They don't want a lot of competition in the area. So what is it about this Nyx Timbers here, that makes her somewhat of a good candidate? Perhaps there's a talent. Perhaps there's a talent in there. Um, Now we'll think about that more as we think about this encounter. So Zook is probably going to be in the city investigating, and we'll run into the players. Has to keep a lookout for his missing sister. And they're not going to find this. The sister is a merchant from the underground region. I don't want to say the underworld or the underdark. That just sounds too ominous. And we don't have an ominous evil character. We just got, hey, a Smurf Nevelin. Merchant from the underground region went missing on her last trip to the surface. Now, if our wizard lieutenant is the one who has spotted this character, this Nyx Timbers person, then and if he's the one who thought, okay, this would be good for my master, then I'm thinking there may be some magical inclination here. That maybe Nyx is a sorcerer, or is a potential wizard's apprentice, something that draws our lieutenant's attention. And I think I'm going to go with that she's like a budding sorcerer, or she has some kind of magical talent, some form of magical talent that drew the attention of the wizard lieutenant. And then he arranged to have her abducted, and now she's with the were-tiger. So Zook's going to ask the players, keep an eye out for this little gnome, if you would please. Sister of mine. She's been missing from the surface, and There's no sign of her here in the city. And that's probably because our wizard lieutenant person is pretty clever and pretty smart and was able to abduct her in a fashion that didn't leave a lot of clues, didn't leave a lot of solid clues. All right, so let's kind of review what we have on this scenario with Fregruza. So the players encounter her when they are in the city or in the out in the wilderness. Now, in the city, we have this former boisterous bugbear, this gladiator champion, who before the players get here and meet up with her is very loud, very likes to brag, showing off this really fancy dagger, the silver dagger that she won in the pit in the arena because she is so great. And then our wizard lieutenant, the lieutenant of the Were Tiger, realizes this dagger is a threat. I need to get a hold of it. So he does. And now our gladiator champion is depressed. Her prize is gone, and she's now she's also knows there's a hobgoblin out in the jungle. She thinks there's going to be more goblinoid situations, so she's gone from boisterous to melancholy, and this has been noticed by the people around her, and the players will be able to find that out. And if they probe and they dig and investigate, she may tell them about what's going on out in the jungle in an attempt to get them to go help her find her missing dagger. Um, let's see. And on the way, let's see what happens on the way. We run into some things. We run into some jungle encounters. We run into some mud mephits, some wasps. And keep in mind with the wasps, this might not be a have to fight it type of encounter. This could be a we discovered it and maybe we use it against our enemies later type of encounter for the players. Remember, they have to make a perception. If they don't make it, then yeah, someone's going to step on the log and release the swarm. But if they do make the perception roll, then they can avoid stepping on it, notate its location, and then use it. Maybe find a way to use that. And as the players are getting ready to head out, this deep gnome approaches, mentions the sister, and would appreciate if you could keep a lookout for her. Now, as far as any other encounters and the distance between the city and the jungle, we'll talk about that. We're gonna come up with the story, and then we'll make the map around the story. So at this point, this distance can be as great as we want, but we don't really want maybe more than 2, 3 days of travel to get to where they need to be. And with that could come some random encounters. You can set up random encounters, roll for random encounters that go in addition to these planned scenario encounters. And then so what happens when they finally reach the end of the for this scenario? They make it to the jungle. They reach the end, they get through these encounters. What is it they're going to find? So I'm going to start a section here, and that's what we're going to call it. What's at the end? And we are going to define that on the next episode, the next part. Got some good progress here. We're almost done with like a full Act One scenario. In my mind, when I'm designing these, I have this is kind of like Act One. We meet these three initial characters. We get wrapped up in the story through these characters and what they got going on, and that all and they can run concurrent, right? You don't have to do one scenario, then the other, then the other. They could be happening at the same time. Just depends on how the players move about. And then once they finish these three scenarios, that's essentially Act One. And then Act Two is, kind of like an event that pushes the adventure, pushes the story further towards Act Three. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out. We will discuss what's at the end of this scenario for the players in our next session. Hope you have a good evening, and we'll talk to you later. Take care.